Today in the crypto space, we see the market holding steady. Bitcoin right around 60,500, up approximately 1.5%. Ethereum right around that $2,600 mark, kind of going steady as well. Going sideways is pretty good when we see the altcoins, the rest of the crypto space, showing some green price action. We have AVAX, Maddox, Near Protocol, and many others showing a lot of strength in the last little while. And the question is this the beginning? Is this the beginning of an altcoin season where we see some of these altcoins outperform Bitcoin? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that is obviously setting up for a move, and that project is called Ondo. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. We do see that the overall market cap is still showing strength. Good sign, no doubt. We're above that 2.2. Now we're hitting a little bit higher. Slow grind to the upside. Trading volume is in our favor. We see a bit of market participation getting involved here. Trading volume is a good indication that there's consensus in the market that we should be accumulating. This is why we're seeing the market cap rise. People are getting in, capital's inflowing. This is what we want to see in a healthy accumulation, a healthy beginning of a nice run. This is definitely a good sign, so keeping my eyes out. Bitcoin showing a strength as well, up approximately 1.2%. BNB, more strength. CZ, joining us once again very soon. BNB is looking great. XRP, still okay, not bad. And we have Dogecoin. We got many projects in the last little while showing tons of strength. Even though Tron has been dipping down a little bit at the current moment, it's still up 18.7% for the last 7 days, which is still very healthy. And don't knock it, Cardano's right there as well, up 10% for the last 7 days, up 3.6 for the day. Do we get into a bit of a consolidation here on Cardano, on ADA, before we continue to the upside? This is where we may see the larger cap altcoins, the blue chips, the projects that have been around for a while, creating great ecosystems. This is where we can start to see that growth kick in. Look at AVAX, for example, up 7.5%, a 19% pop to the upside. This is where we're seeing the rotation, people taking profits on Bitcoin, perhaps even Ethereum, and rotating, because you got to admit, although Ethereum is not performing the greatest, it's still ran up pretty good from its bottom, right? So what about AVAX? AVAX didn't even leave the station yet, guys, really. Now, of course, it has been moving a little bit, so we got to do an analysis to see exactly where it's at, if it's hitting resistance and so on. And guys, just a reminder, if you have any projects you want me to cover, feel free to join me live tonight at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, let's continue. We got Chainlink. Remember what I have been saying about Chainlink, okay? This is probably my third day repeating myself, and I tend to want to repeat myself when I'm very convicted, right? When I see Chainlink doing well and I see layer 2s doing well, let me scroll down so we can see if we can get Polygon Matic in here. Look at Matic doing great, 25% in the last 7 days, and we got Chainlink doing well. And now if we look above, we also have Uniswap doing well. Let's connect the dots here for a second, guys, because this is super important. When we start to see Ethereum based projects that are highly intertwined into the Ethereum ecosystem, we start to realize that maybe Ethereum's gearing up for its move, right? Of course, Ethereum got its ETF. It already got a lot of inflow in the last little while, which is obviously healthy, and the price has been a bit stagnant. But when you look at all the auxiliary projects that belong within the Ethereum ecosystem, guys, they're showing strength. What can I say? There's nothing else but we see Oracle, we see DEX, we see layer 2. and this is a very good thing. We see a lot of other projects doing well. ICP is doing well, 7.6%. Aptos is doing well. Monero is doing well. Even Ethereum Classic, the fork of Bitcoin, of Ethereum, sorry guys, Ethereum, fork of Ethereum, is also doing well. Now, I know it's going sideways today. It's 0%, and I know in the last 7 days, it's only up 2.4%, but that doesn't matter. What I like is the structure. It's slow grind to the upside, guys. What else do you want? The reality is when you see projects moving and the price action giving you signals, the reality is the percentages don't matter. The percentages are yet to come. No, I'm not saying that we should be piling into Ethereum Classic, but usually when you see the Ethereum narrative wake up this way, it's looking pretty good. And to go along with that, even the correlation between stacks and Bitcoin holding going sideways and showing a bit of strength is also good for the Bitcoin narrative. A bull run, an alt season, a bull run is obviously very good for even projects, the altcoins that are pegged to the Bitcoin narrative, because they basically double dip. They double dip when Bitcoin goes well, and they double dip when altcoins do well. So this is a good thing for stacks. Filecoin, strength. BitTensor, strength. A lot of good strength here. Render, strength, 10% to the upside. Did transition to Solana, so make sure that you get your tokens transitioned over to the Solana network. They no longer support the Ethereum network, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be obsolete. It just means that they're no longer going to be supported, or basically they're deprecated, but still valid, and they're not losing their value. They're not going to be dumped on you or anything. So Render looking good. Injective, another one looking great. Let's continue, guys. Look at the market. The dog with hat, Arweave, looking great. We can continue going on here in this market, and we're seeing a lot of strength. Even Phantom woke up. We have Algorand, guys. Who thought Algorand would be up 12% in the last 7 days? Nobody would have thought that, because really nobody was looking at Algorand. If anything, people were frowning upon Algorand, and I'm glad that I've been holding on to my bags that I did accumulate, because really it's about rotation. And yes, Algorand hasn't left the station, but the risk to reward ratio is good because of that. We already at a bottom, a floor price. We created the floor price, and now the opportunity is starting to wake up. Algorand looking pretty good. Pith waking up, another Oracle. But the good part about Pith is that the Oracle promises speed, whereas Chainlink may not offer the same value proposition, although they're both Oracles and very necessary for the smart contract platforms of today. But Pith takes it to the next level, which it introduces speed. So this is why Pith is very tied up with the Solana network, because Solana's fast and it needs quick Oracles. So Pith might be an interest to diversify yourself within the Oracle narrative. Jupe doing pretty good, a DEX aggregator for Solana, something to be aware of if you're into the Solana narrative. These are opportunities, guys. And again, the exchange tokens waking up here. Gate, KuCoin, WizBitGet. I know I flew over it, or it has been doing well right up here. Look at this. All exchange tokens are doing pretty good, because again, why do people want to hold exchange tokens? It's because they're getting on exchanges. And what do you do on an exchange? You buy and sell, and you get involved in the crypto space. Volume. So very necessary here to see Quant waking up. Okay, Quant has been super bearish, but at least it's up 6% for today. Let's get back above $100 mark, and then I'm interested. But still, if you're interested in Quant, dabble in slowly, guys. It's been a very, very underperforming asset in the last little while. I'm not trying to hate on any projects, but the reality is, if you're not giving me higher highs and higher lows ever, the likelihood is that you become a stable coin, or maybe don't get the hype that we need to get the project or the price moving again. We have Brett waking up again, and the list goes on, guys. The list goes on. We're getting a lot of good price action in the last little while. Even Gala Games waking up a bit here, up approximately 4%. The market looks interesting, and now's the time to consider, whether you're going to be taking calculated risk or not. I know it's very difficult, because you see the prices fall. We have been seeing them fall for the last bit, and the emotions run wild, super wild, to the point that you think that it's over, that crypto will never recover. But that's when you least expect things. That's when you should be prepared, right? You should say, you know what, let me get some exposure. Let me get some skin in the game here, because just in case we do get that reversal and we do get that opportunity, I have enough exposure to potentially make some good profit, some good life-changing gains. And ultimately, doing that research to be prepared fundamentally is key. So this is where we're at. This is the phase that we're in. Invest in yourself, start doing that research, look at the projects that you're interested in, do those deep dives. And if you're looking for deep dive research, Guys, I have a whole deep dive playlist full of deep dives of over 60 different projects that I've covered in the last little bit. They are 1-hour videos where you basically get all the fundamentals that you need, and you can make informed decisions and use those as a stepping stone to continue your research, to continue your quest to building a strong portfolio for the next leg up. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin. We're going to focus on Bitcoin for a little bit, and then we're going to talk about Ondo. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, is going sideways still. Nothing really interesting happening. The only thing that is, maybe considered interesting is that Bitcoin is going sideways. And when Bitcoin goes sideways, this is a great recipe, a great opportunity to see the altcoins take full advantage of the fact that Bitcoin is boring, and the hunters, the people out there that are looking for opportunity are going to be looking for volatility. And if Bitcoin is not where it's at, they're going to be looking at altcoins. All right, guys, so let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Really, Bitcoin at the current moment is, kind of scrubbing people out. And it's an unfortunate thing, because this is hard mode. This is times where it's like you wished you weren't trading. All right, you wish you were just on the sidelines holding off, maybe DCAing very slowly, lightly on spot, not getting into any crazy big positions or leverage positions, none of that. Because the reality, the market is looking a bit, weird based on Bitcoin, if we're going to use it as a leading indicator. What's really happening here? EMAs are facing up on the trend. Good. Green histogram bars. Great. It looks like it's starting to wake up. I am focusing on this area because of this, right? This is a good zone. And we also have momentum. Momentum left oversold. It's now in the chop zone. Now, do we get overbought? If we get overbought, if we see the price get overbought, it is very likely that we're going to start to see the price reach the top of the range, which is right around 70 to 72K. Once we get to that level, guys, I almost feel the FOMO coming in from now. It's the FOMO is being front run, because really, if it gets to this level, guys, people are going to fear the fact that Bitcoin is going to leave the station without them. And not only Bitcoin, in the rest of the market, because if you have been here in previous cycles, you know that when Bitcoin starts to move and Bitcoin starts hitting its top targets, the rotation of capital starts to begin, and we can start front running the altcoin season. Bitcoin holding sideways, showing us strength, but at the same time being boring, gives us the opportunity to focus on different asset classes with volatility, and especially the asset classes that haven't left the station, which are the altcoins, the micro caps, the low caps, the mid caps, the blue chips. A lot of them haven't even left the station. So this is what we're looking for, is opportunity. Bitcoin at the current moment is going sideways. Not really an opportunity, because really we could go to 120, and yes, you could potentially double your money here, which is great. But the altcoins, guys, melt faces. Let's move on. Let's take a look at Ondo. Ondo, at the end of the day, is taking, again, full advantage of Bitcoin's indecision. So while Bitcoin resolves itself, while individuals are waiting for Bitcoin to make its decision, individuals are looking for opportunities in the altcoin market. The altcoin market is slightly different than Bitcoin altogether. Number one, they're in a separate, different asset class. Bitcoin in itself, its value, its utility, its value proposition is very, very different than an altcoin, traditionally speaking. Just to put a blanket statement, because most altcoins, introduce a smart contract. They become smart contract platforms, which provides more utility, both from a functional perspective, meaning the way it's programmed, you know what I mean? Like being able to, have a ledger that is intelligent, right? Or we are able to introduce other applications, like decentralized applications, that are built around these smart contracts. So this is very, very important, is that Bitcoin does what it does very well, but altcoins open up the internet, open up functionality, utility, many, many more avenues. And if you start looking at different narratives, such as the real world asset narrative, a new up and coming hot narrative that could do very, very well in this bull run, we start looking at projects like Ondo. Ondo has been doing very, very well in the last little while. Nice straight run to the upside, many peaks and valleys along the way, but hit a very good price target from entry. Now all of a sudden we're in a deep retracement, where we have hunted some liquidity already. Think about what's happening in this level. This level right here is a level of which a lot of people got in. Obviously not as much as down here, because this was a major accumulation range that basically fueled this pop to the upside. But this would be the next bull flag, the next area where a lot of people got in as well. But this is the level right now that the liquidity is basically being hunted. How many of these individuals that bought at this level are being liquidated? or stop hunted, or basically break even, or even selling with a bit of profit, but gave away a lot of those profits because they didn't take profit off the top at an extension level. Let's just look at this for a second. If you were able to use this as an extension, even right here, 1.618 right around here would have been a great level as an extension level to take a bit of profit. 1.618, 1.27, both of them are great profit taking zones, and then all of a sudden reversal. Right? We have to look at these things because the setup has to introduce both buy opportunities and sell opportunities if you want to classify yourself as a profitable trader. Now, ultimately, we are in a zone, we are in the cycle of a continuation up where we're hoping on a continuation of the bull run. And in a bullish condition like this, it's all about hodl. You buy, you accumulate, and you try to sell on the top as best as you can. So is this the time? Should we be accumulating? If we capitulated a couple of individuals here, we got them forced to sell. Look at this candle here. Look at this wick. Quick buy up, lots of strength. Hit levels of liquidity and got bought up real quick. We know why this wick came in. We know what happened, with the world economics, Japan, wars, this and that. But ultimately, Ondo's holding up. And it's not just Ondo. There's a lot of projects that are doing very similar. What I like about Ondo is not only is it making a higher low, not only did we see a nice buy up, not only is it holding horizontal levels of interest, yes, it's slightly below it, but what about a swing failure pattern? But also the pattern and structure that it is forming. Let's look at this for a second. This is called an Adam and Eve pattern, a pattern that I appreciate significantly here. On the channel, I talk about many patterns. Adam and Eve is one of my major ones that I focus on. They're good reversal patterns. And even if the Eve was on this side and then was the Adam, that would still be valid. What I do look at is the fact that it is making a slightly higher low. Okay, and the V recovery is a sign of strength that could be triggered by a bunch of algorithmic buy orders or a very aggressive buy up for whatever the case is. Now, when we do get the reversal and we do get the back test and we get a rounded bottom, the rounded bottom gives me an indication that this is true slow and steady accumulation. Slow and steady DCA by individuals that are super bullish, that are not just spamming buy orders, they're accumulating and accumulating nice and slowly. Very, very healthy. And this is what we want to see in the markets. A nice quick recovery and then a nice clear indication of accumulation. Now, if we go back into the chart, we zoom in here and we kind of look at what's happening on the daily. It looks like a nice quick V recovery, even if you include this, ignore the wick here and you just say, right around this level of quick recovery, rejection, come back down, and we're slowly working on a nice rounded bottom. Now, this rounded bottom could take its time. It could come back down to about 66 cents. It could, basically hesitate right around this level and then officially hit the zone, which is at about 77 cents. And this zone is very important. Okay, now I really would like to get on the 12 hours so that it kind of shows us a little bit more. Remember, this is the railroad track, tweezer top bottom, basically of what happened out of Japan. And it's a little bit unfortunate that what happened, but the reality is it showed us an opportunity, a quick V recovery with a nice rounded bottom. And what we really want to do is fulfill this rounded bottom and not come lower than 66 cents, but we want to break above the 80-cent zone. So let me just kind of do one of these here for a second and show you. I'm just going to paint in the Adam and Eve, just hypothetically, and then come back down, rounded bottom. Okay, let me make this a little bit better. Nice V recovery. We get rejected, we come down, nice rounded bottom. My art skills are not the greatest. Let's say it takes much longer. Maybe it's a bit shorter. Who knows? At the end of the day, this is the bottom that we need to focus on. Now, what about the top? The top is even more interesting because not only do we have a clear neckline, a line of which we need to break above, which is right around here. And we're going to make this a little bit more accurate, because what we need to be following is the volume gap. And the volume gap, if you've been following me on the channel, I've been talking about the volume gap for a long time, and it's a level of which really does interest me. And I'm going to use these smaller lines just to highlight the importance of this zone. And if you look at the volume profile, and I'm going to make this a bit better in a second, just let me tidy this up a little bit. I'll try to be as organized and neat as possible. And then if you start looking at the empty space that we have in here, we can obviously conclude that there is weakness, that if we break above that previous high right into this level, we can snap straight to about 90 cents. And the reason being because there's no volume here. There's no volume. We went straight down and that's it. Now, if we introduce more price action, nothing. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Even here, we still kind of fill it up a little bit, but really we're talking about old price action, and still it doesn't fill it up completely. So what we're really hoping on is that there's enough emotions in this level that we can actually break out of this Adam and Eve pattern and slowly break the previous high and make a higher high. Once we make a higher high, given that we made a higher low, guys, we could consider this a trend reversal right here at the bottom. Now, of course, I'm talking bullish, obviously, guys. I'm talking very bullish here. I'm talking about the bullish reversal, and we have to be very clear that these scenarios do happen, but obviously the scenario to the downside also does happen, given the fact that we are still currently working on a structure. The structure hasn't broke its neckline. The structure hasn't really done much, but it's in the works. And this is where you could start DCAing with a great risk to reward ratio. So where do you put your stop loss? Stop loss is all the way down here. Sure, it's a deep stop loss, no doubt. It's going to be a deep dip if it does come down, but at least you know how much to put in. Your position size needs to be small enough to merit a 2% loss. You don't want to lose you want to lose a 2% loss. You want to basically take a 2% loss that represents a small portion of your trading portfolio. It's not like you're going to go all in here, because what happens is the structure is not complete. What about if we get rejected right here and make a lower low? Not a good look, right? You want to be able to see this structure complete and over time trail up that stop loss as tight as possible. If we do come down a little bit more, you DCA, you bring your average cost down, you trail up the stop loss, and over time you tighten up your basically your risk to reward. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say you get in right now. Let's say you put your stop loss all the way down here, and let's say your target is all the way up here. Risk to reward ratio is pretty trash, but this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for a major reversal where at least we get back up to maybe previous highs, something like that. We're looking for a longer term hold here, for a long-term spot position, because really the market is not really giving us major reversal pattern structures yet, but we want to take advantage of the fact that we could be getting a reversal. So what? We buy in a little bit right now, right? We slowly DCA if it does come down a little bit more, and as that happens, what you're going to notice is your position size is going to get bigger. So what are you going to do? You're going to trail up a stop loss a little bit, right? So that you don't take too much of a hit. Now you're 13% to 1, 14% to 1, but your risk to reward ratio is pretty good. And if it comes down a little bit more, you DCA a little bit more, no big deal, but your position size is getting bigger, and therefore you're taking more risk, right? So you trail up a little bit more to the point that you basically zone in on an area where you know you're in validation below this low. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Is actually where you want to be fearful, because if it does break below this low, we're coming down for a lower low, and you could be accumulating on much lower levels. But what about if we make this nice rounded bottom? You want to make sure that you have enough capital basically in the market on Ondo that it does break out of this Adam and Eve pattern. Now, what you also have to understand is that we could get liquidity hunts. If everybody does this and everybody considers a stop loss down here, we will get stop hunted. Okay, so this is why I appreciate going slowly, because I can give myself a lot more wiggle room with a smaller position size, because ultimately if we do get a wick and get bought up real quick, at least I don't get stopped out. And once that happens, that gives me a confirmation that, okay, we already did one stop hunt, it's likely not to get another. And that way I can trail up my stop loss a little bit more and increase my position size. And over time, you build that bag and build that bag over the next couple of weeks. And if we do get that reversal in this market, guys, Ondo's going to be one of those projects that could do very well, given that it is part of a very, very hot narrative. Now, let's talk about the bearish case scenario for a second, and we'll look at oscillators in a bit. Bearish case scenario is that we keep on hunting liquidity at lower levels, and at lower levels we do see a lot of weakness. There's weakness here, we got weakness down here, and the reason why, again, why I say it's weak is because we got volume gaps and many nodes of volume that are here to act as support. That for me makes things very ambiguous. When there's many nodes of support, we don't know which one's going to hold. Where is it going to hold? Is it going to hold this level? Maybe. Is it going to hold this bottom? Maybe. Is it this top? Maybe. Is it this bottom, the top? Which one? Which one are we going to choose? Well, guess what? We got to let the price action get there. And at the current moment, we do see the price action doing something. So it's valid. It's a valid opportunity to come up with a setup. That's why I'm here making the video on Ondo. Let's take a look at what's going on with momentum. Momentum. Let's get rid of the trend oscillator for a second. Momentum oversold. It came down to an extreme state here when we saw Japan, come up with those economic figures. And then all all of a sudden we're potentially looking for an overbought state. We're looking for a reversal. And obviously what you have to do is keep in mind the current cycle of things. If we get that altcoin season, Ondo's going to fly right into this level. We're going to see it get back overbought, and we're going to see a higher high. We're going to break above the high and keep on going. So this is what we have to do, is be prepared, guys, because we're oversold. We see the market kind of waking up in the next little while. I'm not saying to go all in, but start DCing. Have a plan to start accumulating your bags just in case we leave the station. If you look at the trend, guys, undoubtedly, look at the trend. Let me get rid of this and look at the trend. Right now, we're getting EMAs facing up, green histogram bars forming to the upside. It looks like we might want to get a nice impulsive move. And what about if this is the last impulsive move before we start expanding to the upside? Right after each one, we could have prepared for a long. We could have prepared for a long every time we move up. But guess what, guys? Maybe this could be the time. Now, we'll be making lower lows and lower highs on the expansions, unfortunately. But we're probably due for an attempt, for a bullish attempt to the upside. And this could be the bullish attempt where we start changing the direction of the trend, where we start getting a change of character. Guys, if you've been following me on the channel, I talk about changing character quite a bit because price action is king. And if you look at what's happening here at the current moment, everything right now is still lower lows and lower highs, right? We're not really getting major reversal structure, right? If this breaks above the previous high, guys, that's our first higher high, which is good. And even this low, it's our first higher low, which is still okay. We're still good. So this is why I'm trying to say here is that taking calculated risk based on structure is the way you got to do it. You can't wait for perfect opportunities because you might miss out. But taking a bit of calculated risk based on structure is the only way, because then you can put a stop loss and come up with a risk reward management strategy that could definitely get you profitable here and sustainable, a profitable, sustainable trader in the long run. Guys, if I've offered you any value here on the channel, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. This really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. See you tonight at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.